Okay, well, welcome to another episode of the Big Money Stylist Podcast. I'm so excited. I have a guest inside of my podcast studio. We're going to call us the Double Ds. Just kidding. That's super inappropriate. But her name is Danielle, and I'm Danielle, the creator of Natural Beaded Rows hair extensions and ISLA Hand Tied Hair. So, Danielle, we're in California. You're taking one of our Phase 3 classes to kind of freshen up your skills. Yes. But introduce us. Where are you from? Where do you work? I know it's snowing there, but kind of introduce yourself and tell us all about you.
My name is Danielle Sprando, and I work in Gresham, Oregon. So it's
freezing.
It's freezing. There's literally a snowstorm that's been going on for 4 days.
Oh, geez.
But I'm right outside of Portland, kind of more suburbs, and I've kind of been involved with NBR since 2018. I went to the BMS con, and then I just didn't do the ongoing education for a couple years.
Okay.
And then finally in 2022, I was like, fuck it.
Back around.
I'm going to just do the academy.
So when you came to convention, was it it was one of our bigger conventions, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then we were having back-to-back bigger conventions for a while.
Yeah.
But I didn't have the academy built yet.
No.
So it was, we did the pre-training. We did 3 days of this big event, but I still felt like it wasn't enough. And so I feel like as we created the academy, it got a lot of students kind of back involved. So when did you join the academy?
In October of 2022.
Okay. Oh, that's right. You said in 2022. How long, do you own your salon?
Yes. Nice. As of 1 month.
Oh, really? Okay.
Very new. Yeah.
What inspired you to do that?
I was working at a salon where everyone did extensions, and she did go solely NBR. So I learned a lot from there, but she was just transitioning to a commission salon, and I just didn't want to do that. And I just kind of got to the point where I was like, I want to have my own space. I loved working there, but I was just kind of had a different aesthetic, and just was kind of I guess that's the next step. And I didn't love I've assisted in a studio, and I like working with other people. I knew that having a suite was not for me, and so.
So do you have you own your salon?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So how many, is it just you? Do you have an assistant?
I have 2 apprentices who are also building part-time, and then there's 2 esthetician rooms. So I have 1 esthetician right now, and so I have 2 more chairs.
That's kind of a big leap though. So you went from were you commissioned?
No,
so you were.
She was transitioning to commission.
So then you were okay, that's the next step. So
as
of 1 month, what are some of the biggest aha moments? Tell us why you can't sleep at night. Just kidding.
Oh my gosh, I'm just I don't know how to how often to order retail. Obviously you do a buy-in, so I'm shit, how often do I stock this? And just now I'm if they have a question, I have to have the answer.
You're the boss.
I'm not, I can't ask someone how to do something or where is something. So that is what keeps me up at night. I'm what am I going to have the answer to tomorrow?
Yeah. I think it's what's interesting. I've been a salon owner for 8 years now, and I've been educating for 13 years, and I've been behind the chair for over 20, but it was an evolved process, right? And even though I had been doing hair for over a decade, I remember same thing when I bought my first salon, I hired 2 girls, and I'd be so what do you guys think we should do about retail? You're just kind of go into it blindly. And honestly, obviously now I have a salon manager, we have systems and processes and structure, but I realized I was I just because you become a salon owner doesn't mean you know exactly how to organize everything.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why I was okay, what else do hairstylists need? That was one of the reasons why the academy was even made. As I figured it out, I was hey, if somebody would have just said hey, here's how you open up a business, do this, instead of just trying to figure it out as I went, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is a bad story, but I'm going to just share it with you because now you're a new salon owner and you're ready. So I feel like I'm very much the artist, right? I'm I don't want to do the details of the numbers and this and that.
That's me. I'm
yeah.
Let me hire someone to do it.
Let me tell you how that really bit me in the ass one year. Okay. So I finally was okay, I'm overwhelmed because I'm trying to do hair behind the chair. I was running all the marketing for my for Instagram and all of the email marketing, everything, which I actually love doing, and I think that's something that I wanted to do. But then also the ordering of products and keeping track and this and that. I'm not only do I not have the desire to do it, but I'd rather put my energy in something I enjoy doing. So then I was like, hey, I think I'm going to hire so-and-so as my salon manager. But the mistake I did is this person had never been a salon manager. This person never even had any managing skills, but they applied for the job, and I was just kind of out of desperation, like, here, I advocated it, right, instead of delegated it. And this particular person worked for me for probably a year and a half, and I finally let him go. And I was like, I've got to find somebody who has experience in this and create processes with them together, right? So when I let this person go, we found $30,000 of hair shoved in random drawers throughout my salon. Because I couldn't figure out when my numbers were like, so like, I'm like, because I have a CFO that like he helps me track my numbers and do all that, right? And I'm like, dude, what? He's like, you're ordering like 30 grand of hair a month. I'm like, wow. But then our clientele wasn't reflecting ordering that much hair. So he was just like, every Monday, he's like, it's hair order time. He's like going around the salon, like asking people, what colors would you like? What colors would you?
Instead of keeping track of like what you already had on hand.
Just always like order every week, like ordering like 10 grand of hair. And I was just like, the numbers were not adding up. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so then I was like, well, that's a problem, right? So my biggest advice to new salon owners is, if you're not going to commit the time to figuring out systems and processes and doing your numbers, then you need to find somebody who has that experience and work with them. It needs to be like weekly conversations, weekly communication, and make sure you're not just like I said, advocating it over, but you're literally meeting with them weekly and going over the numbers. Yeah. So that was my biggest fuck up as a salon owner, is when I found out like how much money was being spent that I didn't even know about. Yeah. But it'll take some time, because in the beginning, it's just like you and like one apprentice, you're like, well, I don't know if I need like a salon manager and a receptionist. Like you don't even have the revenue coming in where you can go out and hire 4 more people. Yeah. So what I would suggest, when you get to that point where you're wearing all the hats, then find somebody who has some experience in that and then delegate it over to them. Yeah. So
I'm taking it slow, but I wouldn't have like made it this far, and I would not have opened my salon if I didn't do the academy and learn all of the systems and processes and all of that in there. Like I want it like a year ago. If you asked me if I wanted to be a salon owner, I would have said, fuck no. Like, no, I would have said, I'll rent a chair forever. Yeah. But then I was like, well, we can't work behind the chair forever. Like our bodies literally can't, like it's hard.
Right. It's like you want to be able to at least scale back. Like, if like you wanted to do hair like 1 or 2 days a week, but then you have more revenue coming in from other artists, then you're like, okay, then it's worth being a salon owner. And I think that artists, they get to that point where they're like, yeah, we work like 8 days a week, even though there's not 8 days. And then we're like so tired, and it's like you can't retire ever. Right? Yeah. Like you can't. There's no room for that. So, well, I'm excited for you to be a salon owner. If you need to get on a call or anything with any of us, you're still a part of the family, and you can do so. So what are some of your biggest, like, I wanted to bring us into a topic today of just kind of like goal setting, right? It's always a big thing at the beginning of the year is setting goals. And I feel like sometimes, like for me, I'm like, I set goals based on what people tell me I should set my goals to instead of what I really want. And so like for me, like this year I was like, okay, do I really want to read 20 books? I'm like, no, I don't really want to read 20 books. Why do I make that goal every year? I don't want to read 20 books. So I really kind of had to look at like putting some perspective on my goals. So tell me, are you like that person that kind of sets targets or goals every year? And what are some of your big goals?
I don't usually, I'm not like a New Year's resolution person. Either. And I feel like being in the academy too, it's so much like business goals and personal goals that I'm just trying to like maintain or like have bigger ones, but I'm not like, I need to do it by January 31st. You know what I mean? Like it's just kind of like that's getting better, but I just am hoping that like I want to be like a good leader for my apprentices, and I hope they're learning something. Because this is the first time I have them like apprentice on my own that I'm training. So it's like,
have you worked with assistants before?
Yes, but I was kind of lucky because the salon I came from, like she trained them because she had been.
You're like starting from
so she had it. You know, she had worked with apprentices for years, kind of knew what to do, and I kind of just got to like reap the benefits of working with an apprentice. So now I'm like, am I over communicating? Am I talking to them too much? But that was my problem before, was I wasn't communicating enough. So now it's like.
So your goal is kind of, one of your goals is just to become a better communicator and educator. And
yeah,
I will tell you, like, that there's no such thing as over communication. Like,
okay.
there's really not. Like, that was, again, one of the mistakes I made in the beginning, is I would be like, I would just assume people would want to, like, come sweep my hair or, you know, whatever it was. And so now, even if it's like I'm somebody's like hanging out over my shoulders, and you know how sometimes you're like, I need my space.
Yeah.
Or you can sense the client is like I need my space. I will tell them, even something as simple as that. I'm like, hey, I probably don't need you for the next like 15 minutes while I bead this row, but then come back and check back in. So like the littlest things, like the more you get good at, like, it's not even like bossing them around. It's just like you tell them exactly what you want.
Because they don't know. And that's what I'm learning. And that's what I've learned with like having an apprentice prior that like I didn't necessarily train, is like, okay, they can't read my mind. And then like I'm getting annoyed because they're not doing something, but I didn't tell them to do it. I think they just automatically know. So I'm like assuming they know nothing, and I just oversay everything.
I think, no, I think that's perfect. We have like, so anytime we're getting ready to hire a new assistant, we have them do like a live shadowing day with us, because we want to see like how they work with all the artists, because we share our assistants at my salon. And it's interesting too, because my team is so funny, because I'll have somebody shadow and I'll be like, I thought they were great, and Crystal always goes, you think everybody's great. And I am like, oh, thank you. But the reason I think everybody's great is because I've learned how to communicate to my assistant so I get exactly what I want. Because the other girls that haven't been doing hair as long, they'll be like, oh, I didn't like her at all. And I'm like, but is that because you didn't know how to communicate, or you just didn't like her, right? Yeah. But I also like have to respect my teams, and I'm like, okay, who do we like the best, and who's going to be the best vibe and the best fit? But what I noticed is I was like, you can put anybody with me, and I think they do a great job, unless they like literally like are like say stupid shit. Then I'm like, it's not gonna work out.
Something someone told me when I was like fresh out of school apprenticing, they were like, you don't just like hire a good assistant, like you create them.
Yeah, for sure.
And so that's always like kind of stuck with me too.
They should, over time, communication will get easier, because they will just anticipate your move. Yeah. They just will know. They're like, oh, she's getting around the corner. She's going to want me to come back and help her finish her end bead. Okay, the bowls are empty now. I don't have to tell them to remix. You know, like,
they get the cue now.
Yeah, and I know when my assistants are there, because like I don't know if you've ever done this, but I'll be like staring at my tray, and they're like, "What are you looking for?" And I'm like, oh, I don't know, you didn't hand me my pliers. like something stupid like that, because I'm so spoiled that they like have my pliers like in their hands ready to go.
Here's
and I'm
one little bead.
Literally, they're like, your bead, madame? I'm like, oh, like, but I get spoiled. Yeah. And I realize that's when they can read my.
Trained them.
Yeah, they can anticipate my moves.
Trained them that well.
So that's a good goal. Just like better communication, better teams. Yeah. Like once you have a solid team, like the whole operation runs more smoothly. So I think that's an amazing goal. I'm currently reading this book called The Gap and the Gain. I definitely recommend it if you have not heard of it.
No, I'll write it down though.
It's really good. I joke around. I'm like, my husband's like, you don't read. I listen to so much audio. Like I go for a walk almost every morning, and I love listening to audios. So I'm currently listening to a couple other ones, but that's one that I really have liked, because it's like, don't be so focused on what's in the future that you're not happy with like where you're at right now, right? Have this place of appreciation and gratitude. Happiness is not in the future. It's in the present as well. And it really helped me have some perspective, because for me, I don't set New Year's resolutions, but I'm always like, what's the next target? Yeah. Like I'm like a growth junkie. Like I'm like, who can I become? What's going to be next, right? Yeah. To the point where I'm like, you've accomplished good stuff, you know? Like you need to like simmer down.
I feel like it's like if you're in academy or mastermind or like we're always wanting more, and then once we reach, we're like, oh,
it's almost
that's not good enough. What's next?
Well, it's almost like you get this like not like depression, but you're like, well, I like the high, you know?
Yeah. You're like I want more.
I want the high. More. Yeah, you're like, I hit my target. Now I need another target. I need another target. So I've kind of tried to balance both this year, and this book's been really fun for me to read, because I'm like, hey, am I living in the gap? The gap means that like you're so focused on like this, what's next, or what's the biggest thing that like you don't even realize everything that's going on right now. And if you live in like the gain, then you're kind of in this space of, like I said, kind of more gratitude. But anyways, great book. I definitely recommend it. I'm still balancing both, because I love like seeing this huge vision, but I also like have to sit back and be like, what are you whining about? You have a beautiful family, awesome house, great, like what can you be sad about right now? Right? But then I always say like, well, we're human. It happens.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's awesome. I think it's important to, like I said, like not set necessarily New Year's resolutions, but always have something that you're aiming for.
Yeah.
And it could be, like you said, like I want to be a better mentor for my team.
Yeah. And I'm sure once I know I'm doing that, then there'll be something else. But that's just kind of like
your focus
right now, because I'm like, oh my God, I have this salon now.
Right.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. You're in the what the fuck mode right now, which is.
But it's fine.
It's a good.
It's fine.
My team makes fun of me because when I'm always like, it's fine, they're like, your eyes are twitching. I'm like,
Yeah.
It's fine.
I mean, I think everything's fine, at least so far. So.
You have to sometimes when you're overwhelmed, I say, like, take it one day at a time.
Yeah.
Like, literally, like, there's nothing you can do, and it's not going to serve you to sit in this space of, like, anxious, like, you take it one day at a time. And you're like, well, what did I learn today? Okay, how am I going to apply it tomorrow, you know? And if you can have that attitude towards things, then, like, 6 months goes by, and you're like, okay, we're making some headway. We're making some moves, you know? So you've been open for a month, or your books?
Actually, I've only been open since January 2nd, but
Serious?
so like less than a month, but we got the keys December 1st and literally had like 3 weeks.
What do you need to do right now to ease some of your anxiety?
I have no idea.
Or you don't even know?
I don't even know.
Okay. Do you need more clients? Where you at?
No, I feel like I'm good. I'm trying to go from working 4 days to 3 days.
Okay.
So just like really thoroughly like training my apprentices because I want them to take on some of like my color clients or like the smaller services, because I would say like 80% of my clients are NBR.
Okay.
And then I have like 10% like friends, family that I still like do color only on.
Okay.
But that's always on that like 4th day.
Why don't you get rid of them?
Yeah. I gotta like make sure my girls are like up to par and can like do their color. Yeah.
Oh, okay, got you.
You know, so just working on that and just making sure that like I hope that they're learning something every day. And I try to ask at the end of the day, okay, what'd you learn?
When they're
what'd you
an apprentice,
like? What'd you not like?
Are they licensed, but they're just like brand new?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, both of them have worked somewhere else for like 6 months right out of school, but they were just not really getting what they were wanting. Yeah.
Do you allow them to do like model calls?
Yes.
I was gonna say, because that's one of the things that we incorporate is we're like, hey, to get better, you have.
I think
to have
I
reps.
need to like set it up and like
I was gonna say
help them.
You can reach out to
schedule
Crystal
that
and let her and talk to her about like what our process is.
Okay.
Because that's the thing is like your assistant can only get so good when they don't have that pressure of actually working on a client start to finish on their own. It's so different. And again, I made that mistake. I had an assistant for years, and then I was like, she's ready. Because she was great when she would assist me. Yeah. The minute I put her on her own, I found out she had like several panic attacks and clients like left, and I was like, oh my God, she wasn't ready. Because I didn't know. I was a new salon owner, and I was just like, you're doing great with my clients. They seem to like you. Yeah. She had done my hair. She did a good job, and then like
it's so different when you have someone that you're like, I'm second guessing this, so you have someone to tell you yes or no, right? Versus no one's there for you to ask. No one's there,
yeah. There was one time this particular artist, I remember it was like, I'm like, hey, I'm closed on Fridays, but she's like, hey, if I have a client that wants to come in Fridays, can I work on Fridays? I'm like, no problem. She calls me in like tears, like a panic attack. She's like, I don't know, because there was no one to like bounce questions off of. And I was like, oh my God, like I had to go in on my day off and like make sure the client, because the client's like freaking out too. Yeah. So I would definitely recommend.
When you project that, you're like, you have to.
She was like in tears. I was like, the client knows you're crying in the bathroom. Like it was bad, but I didn't know as a salon owner. I was just like, you're ready. But yeah, I would definitely recommend having them do a model call when obviously other people are working in the salon. Yeah. And it's color onlys in the beginning, and they get model pricing.
And I did make like a structure. Like I literally made like a little ebook because I was like, I need to stay on track too. And it was literally like starting like easiest to hardest. I was like, curling, styling. Yeah. Then we'll go into glossing. Then we'll go into like foiling and all of that stuff.
Yeah. Definitely keep it with baby
And I was like, I need to keep a structure for myself too. Otherwise.
Yeah, and
we're going to be all over the
place. You'll have them obviously just probably on like doll heads and helping with you. But then when they're at that point where you feel like they're ready to actually work on clients, do you have them foil with you? Yeah. Okay, I was going to say, because that's been huge too. Whenever
But I'm like next to them just to make sure like, is your pickup the same? Yes. Like you need to fold your foil the same as me, because even you fold your foil different.
It's going to bleed or do something weird. In fact, I find when I have people even come do tryouts, I'm like, hey, you're going to foil with me. And they think I'm nuts. They're like freaking out. Like, what? I'm like, yeah, you're fine.
Yeah.
But I'll show them. I'm like, here's the comb we're
Yeah.
going to use. Here's the slice we're going to do. Here's the weave we're going to do. And then I take the product and I'm like, here's how we're going to comb the product on. And then I'm constantly teaching as I'm working. So keep this in mind too when you're working with them. Is like, I take the product, I go, look how much product is on my brush. I'm like, watch how I'm feathering down. Watch how I'm feathering up. Like I'm so overly communicative, like but that you need to be. Because if I just show them, I'm like, yeah, just weave and paint. Like you can't.
Then you have to go back. I don't know.
You have to fix.
They have, because it's like, I think saturation with the color. I mean, I struggled with that. Right out of school too. We all do.
Sure, we all did.
So that I'm trying to teach them like right away because I'm like, it's going to save you when you are on your own clients too.
Yeah, is product saturation.
Yeah, and that's what they teach in beauty school. They're like, oh, just open the foil back because they've told me they're like, oh, like we don't have to like go back in and like put the bleach on. And
You're
I'm like, no, you shouldn't ever have to do that. You're
like product distribution.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, but the schools like aren't great now.
No, I know. It's sad. That's why we have the academy. We really need to elevate like our business, our color skills, like everything.
Yes.
So, well, I know we're coming to an end. I love having my art. You're licensed, right?
Yeah.
When did you become licensed?
Right after convention in May. So I did it in I did it in 8 months.
Okay, you were speedy, sweet.
Yeah.
There's been like a few that did it in 8 months. I'm like, did you sleep at night?
It was me and I worked with her, Trenda. We were both like, we're going to do it. Yeah.
Because you had been to convention and things like that.
Yeah.
So for those of you that don't know what the Academy is, it's business marketing and sales mixed with the art and science of natural beaded row hair extensions. Hair schools is like the foundation. You get licensed, and then we're kind of thrown out into the wild, wild west, right?
Yeah.
So I created this program to, number one, give artists a tool that will make you a lot of money behind the chair because extensions is not $100 service. It's in the thousands of dollars. Plus, it's fun. It's fun to see these amazing transformations on women. And
you learn a lot about business that they also don't teach you in school.
No, like literally everybody comes out of hair school and they're like, I'm an entrepreneur. Yeah. You're like, you're not. You're a hairstylist. But if you want to become an entrepreneur and a business owner, definitely check out the Academy. You can go to mbr.education to find out more. You can become a licensed artist. And again, we love keeping you guys in the family. You're back for a class.
Yes.
Because there's always new tricks, you know?
Yes.
Like, it's like, hey, we want to continue our education. So like, come back and learn more with business. Come back, and just because you're licensed doesn't mean that like now you're a salon owner.
Yeah.
And even though you went through the Academy, you might need a refresher course.
No,
right?
I always learn something.
Yeah, it's awesome. So thanks for coming back. Thanks for being on my podcast.
Me.
You did great.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, you guys, check out mbr.education and tell us your Instagram handle.
Hair artist Danielle.
And if you are in the Portland area, is it Portland?
I'm like 20 minutes from Portland, so Portland
metro
area. If you're in
the Oregon area, check Danielle out and get some natural beaded rows so you too can experience why we're so obsessed with our hair. All right, guys, we'll see you next week with another episode of the Big Money Stylist Podcast. Bye-bye.
Bye.